100% pure rock. 1077 The Bone.
Here at Rockstar Energy Mayhem Festival, the guys from Devil Wears Prada. You guys are starting to get to be veterans at this point, right?
We're trying.
Working our way to it. This is our first year of Mayhem, though, so we'll see how it goes.
But you guys have been touring kind of nonstop the last 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, it's coming up on 5 years straight, besides like a few months to record and write records or whatever. But yeah, pretty relentless schedule for us.
What kind of new things have you guys done on this record that maybe you hadn't done in previous records? Anything kind of branching out wise?
Well, yeah, we put out Dead Throne in September of 2011, and it was our first time working with Adam D, Killswitch, producing and engineering the record. He's awesome. I love him, and I love what he did, and I think that was definitely a very, at least for us, a kind of a progressive factor that kind of went into putting the record together and having an extra set of ears, and a very capable one at that, being Adam. And just really, everyone always says, like, the new record's more mature, and I don't look at it so much as being like our music is matured. I look at it as the people in the band get older, and we have matured, and the music kind of matches that. And I think that's a big part of Dead Throne. And just Tuesday we put out Dead and Alive, which is a lot of Dead Throne songs, but it's our DVD that we shot on the Dead Throne North America tour. So yeah, we're just pushing it hard, and now playing a lot of Dead Throne songs here on Mayhem and doing it.
Have you noticed a maturity shift in the band now that you guys have been doing this for a while?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Chris and I were 17 when we started. Andy was like 18, all very young. And really, it's just, we get along so much better now. And it's weird. Nowadays, we just find the five of us always together. And it felt like for a long time, it was always like, these two guys were out doing this person was by himself, and all. And really, it just seems like we're like just dudes now. And three of us live in Chicago together. The other two are out here on the West Coast. But it just feels like we get each other, and we know when, if you're going to press someone's buttons, and you don't do that. And it's a very mutual respect. And that definitely plays a lot into writing new music and making Dead Throne and whatnot.
You guys were already a band that didn't have the typical pitfalls of too much partying and so on the road. So do you feel like in growing up, you guys are making leaps and bounds?
We are tame. We like to hang out and drink PBR. But really, otherwise, it's never been an issue. Like, everyone's talking about the whole Randy Lamb of God thing or whatever, and not to like put blame on them, because I hear they're awesome. But there are a lot of bands where there's like lawsuits with girls or whatnot, and we'll never be there. Yeah. Right now, it's just
we're not the type of people to have anything too crazy like that. I mean, even with all of us in a room going like just ridiculous, like just being loud and everything, it's still nothing stupid or crazy or anything to get us in trouble.
What would be a typical evening or afternoon on the bus for you guys, since there's not a lot of super crazy? I'm sure you're not all sitting around reading books, right?
I do. Game of Thrones.
I was gonna say, is D&D like a part of your breakdown?
Last tour we played some D&D as well, actually.
Just giving us a bad name.
I'm sorry. I don't know, lately it's just a lot of, especially on a summer tour like this, we set up Prada Lounge, which is a big tent with all our lawn chairs in a circle around behind the bus, and just hang out and chill.
What's the writing process like for you guys? Is there a single person who brings in like the beginnings or the riffs or drives the songwriting, or is it very much like a collaborative effort?
Chris is our primary songwriter. He's the one that sits on his laptop and records riffs and programs all the drums in, writes key parts, does a lot. And then usually it just goes from that to when all of us meet up together in like a studio or a practice space, and Dan will change the drum parts, Jeremy will maybe change the chord progression or come up with a little bit of a different lead or whatever. And then I do everything lyrically, and Jeremy and I work on his singing parts, and I do all of my parts. So really, Chris carries a lot of the workload. And then again, two of us, those two, Dan and Chris, live out west, and then the rest of us are in Chicago. So it's not like something when we're home from tour we meet up on a Wednesday and like jam or something. So we have to kind of pick it out and say like, this is when we meet up and this is when we're gonna write, which is what Dead Throne was as far as writing. We wrote like, Chris brought in demos and we wrote like 2.5, 3 weeks in Kansas, and then we did 2.5, 3 weeks in Chicago, which is kind of plays a role in some of the song names on the record and whatnot. But yeah, living apart makes it a little bit tricky, but with us getting along pretty well nowadays, it's you know when to step back and say, okay, I'm gonna go eat, or let's take the day off and watch a movie, or whatever it takes to make people cool down and get the creative juices flowing again.
So even though this is one of the few times that you guys are together since you live apart, do you do a lot of writing on the road or not so much?
As of lately, no. Dead Throne was being compiled for a while, and when we finally finished it, it was pretty exhausting, and it took a lot out of us, and now we've kind of just leaned back and focused on the Dead and Alive DVD and getting all that together as far as everything visually and sonically, and now we're actually having a talk earlier today about really starting to focus and when it's going to be that we're going to sit down and write again. But hasn't been too much writing on the road, but I think it's going to actually play a bigger role on our upcoming record, and people really adapting to what they do with the band. And actually, I think we're going to start writing on the road soon. So,
what kind of topics are you guys exploring in new music at this point? Because I mean, you've definitely had more than enough time to put out a general message and a feel and kind of establish the Devil Wears Prada. Is there some place that you kind of want to take that now that you've really established it?
Yeah, I mean, we when we actually start to focus on writing, we need to have a talk as far as like, right now this record needs to come off this way, and we've never really done that, but we're not trying to just make like Dead Throne Part 2 for our next record. So really, we're gonna figure that out, and I think it's safe to say it's just gonna be darker, and I know that's all I want, and I know that lyrically I have a million ideas that I'm ready to start pounding out some songs, but I think just dark. I wanted. To me, that's what speaks to me, and to me, that's what I like to hear, and heavy music and aggressive music, and I think that's what I would like to aim towards for the next record.
So Devil Wears Prada fans already know exactly what to expect from you guys, but this is a festival with a lot of varying artists, so you're going to be playing in front of a bunch of people that may have never even heard of you or just barely know who you are. How do you describe for those people what your music is like and why they should come out to Mayhem early enough to catch you guys, or make sure that they're missing another band on another stage to catch you guys? Because I think there's some overlap when you perform, right?
Yeah, Anthrax finishes up like right before we start, so there's people making their way over or whatever, but really I just obviously no, we're not thrash, and no, we're not Slipknot, or but I just like to I want to be sincere, and I know that's what the Devil Wears Prada has always been, is just as wholehearted as possible, and I think that's what I would like people to see. And one of the reasons we were so excited to be a part of Mayhem this year was because, writing Dead Throne, we wanted to take that material to Slipknot fans and to like these sorts of shows. And so yeah, we're very, very aware that a lot of the people here haven't listened to us or heard of us or whatever, but all I would like is for them to sit back, and whether they're going to go buy a CD or download it or come see us again or whatever, is just to like feel something, to not be like, oh, this is just BS, this is just, there's no substance to this, there's no real content, and I just want the opposite of that, and I think that's what the performance is, and I think that's what a lot of the backbone is to the Devil Wears Prada songs.
So do you guys have maybe like the next year or so kind of mapped out? You said you're getting ready to make a new album, record. Do you know what you guys are going to be doing in the long term?
Actually, we need to start thinking about it a little bit more. Right now, the big thing on the agenda is we're doing a European tour UK with August Burns Red and Whitechapel. So about 5 weeks later in the year, October, November, we're going to go hang out overseas and continue spending time over there. And then who knows next year? we need to get on that.
Well, we know next year will happen. We just don't know what's going to happen. So you guys did a Make-A-Wish Foundation promotion with us about a year and a half ago, I think it was. It's been a little while now, but I thought that was really awesome because some bands, they're kind of like weirded out by doing charity work, but you guys just delve right into it. Is that something that you regularly do, like involved with different kinds of charities?
We've done certain things. We've done things like signings at like Air Force bases and things like that. Like tried whatever we could do for the troops we're interested in. And it was about 2 years ago we did our Back to the Roots tour, which is where we played like the smallest venues we could find for a few nights in a row. So it's just the most disgusting, like in your face, like, you know, just aggressive show. And the whole tour didn't do Pittsburgh for some reason, and we have a great following in Pittsburgh. So I got a hold of our agent. I'm like, hey, let's do a show in Pittsburgh at the end of the tour, and let's give all the money to charity. So we've done stuff like that, but really, I would like to focus doing more of it. And you know, I whether we are a Christian band, and obviously I have something I'd like to tell people about, but any good I can bring to people is definitely an awesome thing. So if it means charity work and whatnot, it's something that we will always lean towards if we can.
What bands are you guys most excited to see on the Mayhem tour?
I've been a Slayer fan since I was a kid, and if I had to name my favorite metal record, it'd be Rain and Blood, like always. So I watched yesterday, and I was on the verge of tears when they, well, I don't mean to give it away. Oh, I can't say their set list, but I was on the verge of tears a number of times. And we've all loved Slipknot since we were in middle school, being a bunch of, like, you know, angry teen angst children. So it's awesome to see Slipknot.
Completely surreal being on the same fest as them. So watching them last night and probably every other night is just going to be insane.
Now, as a Christian band, are you even remotely at odds with all the Slayer satanic imagery, or just the metal satanic imagery in general, or are you guys kind of all over that, just done with it?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, that's metal. Again, like, it's not like I've been a Christian all my life. I grew more into it once I got a little bit older and started spending more time with it. But like, it's Slayer, and they're saying praise hell Satan, and 25-foot inverted crosses are lighting on fire. Like, no, it's not something that I would do, but like, that's metal. Like, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's all I really see about it. I don't see it and I like start to like cry or something. I cry when I hear like South of Heaven. Like, that's awesome. But I don't know. You know, they might feel differently about people that believe in God, but to me, I'm just like, they want to write the most evil thing, like the most evil songs possible, and they do a pretty good job. And I like listening to it because it is so dang fast, and that's really all I see in it.
It's Slayer. What can you do, right?
Those two words sums it up pretty well. It's Slayer.
100% pure rock. 1077 The Bone.